Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? My name is Stephen Fogg, Principal and Chief Marketing Officer of Fogg Media. And I want to take this time to give a little dive underneath the hood of some of the resources that we use here at Fogg Media. And we can show you how to use these for a very limited budget. So 3 out of the 4 things we're going to show here, you can take those 3 things for less than $100 a month altogether and make a big impact on your practice tomorrow. So, and going on that thing, this presentation is called Do-It-Yourself Healthcare Marketing on a Budget. We're going to show you how to get the most out of your budget while maximizing your return on investment. Again, 3 out of the 4 things here, I'm going to show you can package those 3 things together for less than $100 a month. Sound good? Perfect. First and foremost, let's run over a few housekeeping items. First and foremost, please mute your microphones. I've had a few of these webinars in the past where we've actually, we understand that you are in your office, probably eating lunch along that line. And we've had some instances where we've heard some patient conversations. So please mute your microphones. We understand your time is important, but that just helps everybody out there. There will be time at the end of this presentation for questions, but if you do have something that's pressing and immediate, feel free to use the chat feature to submit your questions. If there's something really pressing that you just think you might forget during the presentation, feel free to use the chat thing. We'll answer at the very end. The last one, think about what you're hoping to learn today. Maybe it was X or Y or Z. And if we don't get to that, don't hesitate to reach out and let me know. Either, again, in the chat feature to submit questions or at the end of this presentation. I will personally do my best to help you and answer your question. At the end of the day, our organization is here to help as many healthcare organization practices, providers, managerial position people as possible. And, at the end of the day, that's what we do. Sound good? Great. Well, let's move forward then, shall we? Before we get into the presentation, I'm sure you want to know a little bit about me. Who am I? Who is this person you signed up for this webinar? Okay, my name is Stephen Fogg. I'm the Principal and Chief Marketing Officer of Fogg Media. More importantly, I'm the father of 2 beautiful girls, a 10 and a 5-year-old. My 5-year-old just went into kindergarten, bittersweet. Devoted husband, married for 7 years, together for 12. And for intents and purposes for this, I'm a media marketing man. I spent almost 2 decades at this point working in and for some largest multinational brands in the world in the media marketing presence. Most recently, before launching this organization, I worked for 21st Century Fox. And I like to tell people that if you ever, if you're in the Carolinas region, North or South Carolina here, and you ever watched a Carolina Panthers game or any sporting event on anything other than a television, over a 4-year period, I was in charge of that resource. Everything from ad insertion, promotions, marketing, whatever you name it. That was what I did beforehand. It's a great opportunity, learned a lot from it, but as you'll see in the coming slides, it was time for a move. So that's who I am. Let's talk about why me. Why am I here? How did this organization become? It all stems back to this. May 20th, 2009, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. In the next 13 months, it's an 11-1 trauma at one hospital system. I had another procedural done at another hospital system. And they had 3.5 rounds of chemotherapy at an independent oncology center. And this is a picture for me getting that chemotherapy treatment. 3.5 rounds because my body was rejecting one of the drugs called bleomycin so badly that my lungs were starting to shut down. And I was put into a thing that I lovingly referred to as a Pope-mobile. And if you've seen some of our previous presentations, I got a picture of it out there. I share that with you because, during this time, I had my media marketing cap on. And I went into this whole process, quite honestly, not knowing much about the healthcare industry. These 2 hospitals that I was at, I knew about their brand. I knew about their organization just because of all the marketing they did out there. But truth be told, I didn't really understand much more about that. And I learned that there's so much more about the healthcare industry than just these large brands that make it special. It's the people, it's the environment, it's the facilities, it's the patients next to you and your level of comfort and the resources they devote to you. And I saw this, and oddly enough, during the whole patient experience, I was able to keep my marketer's hat on and recollect all these things that really stood out to me as a patient. And truthfully, going through the whole experience, I knew something clicked with me. I knew I wanted to get that out. I wanted to share that side of the story, that aspect. There's something so much more important than just these large brands. It's everything I just described within it. How can we do that in a much more effective way? And that's where Fogg Media was birthed. And I like to share that I turned that why me moment, fighting for my life for 13 months, into my why. My why is much more important than just this organization, Fogg Media. My why is serving this industry that saved my life, gave me a second chance to have that beautiful family and to be here in front of you today. And I count my blessings and I'm grateful every day for it. And again, that's why I say I turned this why me moment, this really down and out moment, into my why. And that's where we're at today. So I appreciate you allowing me to spend a few minutes to talk about myself selfishly. Let's talk about what you're here for. Why do-it-yourself healthcare marketing? Why? Well, there's plenty of reasons out there, but let's highlight a few of the larger ones, or the ones that we see as our organization when we talk to healthcare organizations looking to hire a healthcare marketing agency. First is a small practice. You might be a solo practice. You might be a direct primary care provider coming off a contract from a large hospital system and needing to keep costs in check. There are some things that you can specifically do as a small practice with a small team of one provider and 3 staff. Another one's limited budget. I kind of touched on this already with small practice. You might be still working out a contract. You might have bought a new building, and honestly, you don't have the resources in place to invest heavily or appropriately, in the minds of a marketer, into an extensive marketing budget. Third is management buy-in. I get it. I've seen a lot. They either get it, or they either are all in on it, or they're not. We've seen a lot of our older single practice groups or small group practices that have just referred on the referral networks that they've built out for the past 30 years to help bring patients. That's great. We understand it. But what I do recognize, at least here in Charlotte, and I'm pretty confident that similarly across the country, is that referral well is drying up. Sure, it's still out there, but those providers, those primary care providers, if you're a specialist, or those specialists, or those insurance companies, they are ever increasingly merging, or they're being bought out by large group organizations, and they're keeping the referrals within that system. They're feeding the system. So your referral network is drying up. But again, you don't have management buy-in at this point to get to that point. Another big thing that we see is preference. You might have somebody inside your practice that really enjoys marketing. Maybe they enjoy social media, or being a physician liaison, talking to other practices, or Google, or whatever it might be. You might have somebody in-house who really enjoys doing it. So that's more or less the do-it-yourself healthcare marketing system. Particularly if you have that preference, you're probably in that small practice where you have the autonomy to be able to go outside of your, wheelhouse to do it. So those are just a few of, again, many, many reasons why do-it-yourself healthcare is an important option for you. So that's that. Let's talk about some of the top freemium, and it's freemium do-it-yourself healthcare marketing tools. Free because most of these things do start at a free subscription base to get you going. But at that point, then they cut you loose, and to get more resources, they add a little premium feature onto it. So we kind of tackle this into four umbrellas right here: simple design tools, email marketing, subscription, social media management, and Google. We'll go into each one of these things at length in coming slides. But simple design tools, you're talking about Canva, Design Wizard. I'm sure some of these things have popped out to this point. Email marketing, subscriptions, Constant Contact, MailChimp. Maybe your EMR has email marketing elements baked right into it that you can use effectively. Social media management. Again, if you are a practice manager, physician liaison, and your first job is doing those, and your second job is marketing, you want to be as effective as you can with all the social media marketing you're doing. So there are tools out there like Hootsuite, Sprout Social, and Buffer that allow you to basically do 500% of work for 10% of the effort. And we'll show you about that, how that works in coming slides. And last is Google. the Google, it can be complicated, can be tricky, but there's a lot of things that you can do quickly and easily just by learning. So, some of the things we tied on to here is your Google Analytics account, Google My Business account, and your Google AdWords account. Now, all these things can be learned within their skill shop. Their skill shop is basically a free platform of classes, certifications, whatever it might be, to learn all these tools and to make you able to do this. Again, we'll go into length, we'll go into more description about these things as we go further in the presentation. So let's start with those simple design tools and what we use. We here at Fogg Media use, we here at Fogg Media use Canva. Now we also have Photoshop and the Adobe Suite and all access to those things too. But on a day-to-day basis, we are using Canva more often than none. Why? It has a lot, it's very easy one. It's a simple layout and everything's baked into it. So what do I mean by that? Well, with Canva, you have a couple pros. One is all these templates built into it. So you see it right here for presentations, Instagram posts, social graphics, cards, flyers, desktop prototypes, landing pages, you name it. There is a template built into Canva for it, what makes it easy to plug your stuff in there. On top of it, it's very customizable. You can run through the hex colors of your logos and fonts and put in there. Same goes with your font and how big of a campaign you want to make. All this stuff is customizable and it's very simple how they do it. It's actually step by step. And last but not least, one thing that we really love here. So, if you think about all the stock photography that you use in campaigns, think about this. If you're putting posts across social, a blog, maybe a newsletter, and on your website, that could be 4 images right there. And if you're going to the internet to some stock photography, say Shutterstock or something like those lines, those prices can add up. They can add up very quickly. What we love about Canva for the low subscription price is that you have access to millions of stock photography images, and I mean millions. We haven't been able to find something in here that we haven't been able to use yet. So we were very pleased with that. And granted, subscription services for Canva start at $12.95. Our subscription service is $12.95, and we are allowed to have, I believe it's 5 people on Canva at one time. So it's really good. It's really beneficial. It's very simple, and they're everything at your fingertips. Again, we do use like Photoshop and the Adobe Suite, which Photoshop doesn't need the Adobe Suite for larger projects or presentations when it's needed and when it's necessary. But on a day-to-day basis, a lot of stuff. Newsletter marketing, social media, this presentation was done in Canva. Everything that we do on a day-to-day basis is predominantly done in Canva. Remember simple design tools. The next thing is email marketing subscriptions. Now we have a subscription to Constant Contact where we manage all of our client-facing email newsletters and ours as well. What we like about this, and I'll tell you, when we first got going, when I first left corporate America to start this organization, I was not sold on email marketing. I thought it was a waste, ineffective, along those lines. And truthfully, it's just because of my own personal bias from what was coming through my box. And there was a lot of hard sell. But I think the people I was dealing with, car manufacturers, appliance, and so on. In the healthcare world, what I saw really quickly when we got this thing off the ground was people want to hear from their providers. People want to hear from healthcare experts and leading people. Why? Why do they want to do this? I think, now it's not been proven, but my hypothesis is, healthcare professionals are the top 1% of 1% of people worldwide. I mean, they're very smart people. It's also a much more emotional, for lack of better terms, buyer's journey in the healthcare world than it is to say be buying a car or an appliance, a large appliance, something like that. In several instances, depending on your specialty, there's a life or death scenario that could potentially be going on with the patient-provider engagement. Even in lesser situations, there's still the nerves of having to go through the whole thing. So there is a much more impactful relationship going on between the provider and the physician, provider and the patient than there would be, say, somebody trying to sell you a car. And what we stress here at Fogg Media with what we're doing is, and this is part of the DIY formula, is to be impactful, educational, resourceful with anything you're putting out there content. And we specifically found that to be the truth when it comes into email marketing. So how does email marketing work? Well, first and foremost, you would upload your current patient list to a service such as Constant Contact, and then you would add you would use somebody like myself, or you can do it if you have a WordPress site, a subscribe now button directly onto your website to keep building that list, and you serve them with this. You serve them with this tool. You do it in a way that is a very soft sell, meaning you provide education, you provide impact, and you become a resource. And you can see these are two examples of how we do it here. One is a pharmacy, that has a significant base, and we have almost 7,500 opens and 800 clicks for one email newsletter. And I tell you, a lot of this is done because of the educational impact that's inside the newsletter. Third vaccine, what's the difference between each dose and booster doses? You see the kind of content in here and how it flows. It makes a lot of sense, particularly with people, what's going on with COVID. It makes a lot of sense. Mid-Atlantic Emergency Medical Associates, this is a group of providers that feeds into a larger hospital system. So their newsletter is a little different. It's more provider and professional facing. So a lot of the content information there is what's going on in the industry. Let's be a resource to tell you why we're doing what we're doing and how we're doing it, and meet new people on the staff. So you got to think about it. This is going to the hospitals that MEMA serves. And so when they see the MEMA app spotlights and they see Dr. Richards or Dr. Lassler, now they know, hey, I know them, and they might know what they know on what they like on Netflix too. It's all ways to keep them engaged with the people that we're trying to predominantly serve at that point. You see, if you're doing it in a very focused way, as we'll talk about how to do that later on in this presentation, you get high results. Mid-Atlantic Emergency Medical Associates were over a 50%, almost 60% open rate and 26% click-through rate. That means that 26% of people who open that email or that newsletter are clicking on links. Industry average is typically about 9%, to put something in ratio for people on this call that don't think of things. So again, email marketing is very valuable in the space. One, because I think people really want to hear from the providers. They trust them. They're very trusted source. And two, if you can serve them what they want, you can engage them and deliver a high impact. Excuse me a second. So email marketing subscriptions, what's next? Social media management tools. Well, this goes to the fact that we've got a practice close to us that has a physician liaison who also does all their social media. And he does all the social media across, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, but you get my drift. They're doing a lot. With social media management tools, you do that all under one umbrella, and you can track it as it goes. So you can see your results, you can see what works fine. So, and we use Hootsuite. We also have a HubSpot subscription. So we do professionally for our brand, post all of our stuff through HubSpot, but for our clients, we manage it through Hootsuite. Why? Because again, it's effective. It's a way to turn, a 5x load of work into a 1x load very easily, and then also get results on the back end that help you flourish. So here's an example of how it does, and you can just, again, very visual. You can lay in the posts however you want. It's very easy to see. So again, social media tools are something new. Now I'll tell you, our Hootsuite subscription is about $50 a month, and I know there is a free version of it too. But from the reporting aspect, that's where the money is at. Lastly is Google. So we kind of touched on this beforehand, but I tell you, especially if you're a practice manager, physician liaison, or somebody in-house who has that do-it-yourself mindset and really has an interest to get into the marketing world, this is a good place to really start. You can really add a lot of value to your organization by getting to know these Google tools in and out, and you can do that through their skill shop. Skill shop, as I mentioned earlier, this provides everything from quick and nitty-gritty do-it-yourself learning lessons so you can get certified to the highest level of being an AdWords manager. So you can be a platinum AdWords manager in a few months' time if that's really what you want to do. But each one of these tools serves a purpose. So Google Analytics, this helps shape and share who is on your website, social media, you name it, your platform. It helps you gauge that result. And so the way we like to talk about your analytics accounts is like, so there might be somebody who you really want to target. Google Analytics confirms or denies that. So maybe you do want to target female 35-64 living in 4 zip codes in this part of the world. That's great. Going to Google Analytics account, maybe you see that you're really targeting men 18 to 25 in 4 different zip codes. And Google Analytics tells you that. It tells you what time they're doing, what people are interested in on your website. And there's also an aspect that I notice a lot of organizations don't dig in deep enough, and it's the quality of data sets. This is that cookie tracking stuff. But again, from Skillshop, we'll teach you how to do this stuff. This helps you refine your messaging to be more impactful in the do-it-yourself space. So when you are writing content for your website, or are tightening up your social media posts or your newsletters, you are now knowing you're finding a better way to serve them. If so, you do want to reach this population, but you're reaching this one, go out and analytics will show you that. Google My Business. I hope by this point in this call that you have some insight, understanding of what Google My Business is. If not, this is basically your directory listing. That's the starting point. This is your business's profile online through Google. So if somebody searches your business, Dr. XYZ, in the Google search bar, it pops up. This is that menu on the right-hand side. So, has your address information, your working hours, any reviews, any pictures, your logo, all that pedigree information there. Might even have some products if you are selling products as well. So the Google My Business is very important piece of the puzzle. And last but not least, we talked about at the beginning of this presentation, 3 out of the 4 tools you can combine and spend under $100. This is the 4th tool, and this is where we try to pressure is not the right word. We try to convince all of our providers and our clients to start their advertising journey on, if they're going to invest in some paid media, is the AdWords. Why? Because 80 to 85% of all healthcare searches start online. And I always do this for every presentation. 80 to 85% of all healthcare searches start online, and we want to make sure that, one, you are being seen, and when you are, it's you and it's the right information, and you're reaching those people. So Google AdWords helps you do this. Typically we refer our smaller organizations that are looking on a do-it-yourself basis. We refer them to start honing in on 3 things. 1, your brand or your logo, your name. 2, your specialty, and 3, seasonality symptoms. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're an oncology group and you are in the shadows of a brand new, shiny oncology department at a hospital system, if you don't protect your name, say by oncology XYZ, that brand new, shiny facility could buy it up. And buy up oncology. Whenever anybody searches oncology XYZ, the traffic will go to them. It's very inexpensive for you to do this, probably between $20 to $50 a month, depending on the size of your practice and the competition within your marketplace. So it's very inexpensive to make sure your name is protected within this space. Secondly, we want to look at the specialty side of things. So when people are searching, we'll refer back to OBGYN. When people are searching OBGYN symptoms, conditions or along those lines, that you are being found. So again, you buy up those keywords along the lines. And last is seasonality and specialties. So, looking at the primary care practices, you think about cold and flu season, making sure you're buying up AdWords when people are searching cold and flu remedies, or, cold and flu doctors near me or something like that. Same goes with sports physicals along those lines. Now, doing it all on your own, if depending on the size of your practice, you can start advertising Google AdWords for as low as $250 per month. And what I love most about that too, and every one of these pieces under the Google umbrella is extremely granular. I mean, you can track everything to the phone call. So for instance, if you're spending $250 per month with Google AdWords, and you see that you're getting 25 phone calls from that thing, but yet you haven't seen any new patients come into the problem isn't the advertising, the problem is the acquisition at the front desk. So then maybe if your preference is to continue with the marketing, or your practice manager and try to make it more efficient, then you start looking at the front desk. and how are they acquiring, how are they closing sales along those lines. Again, this is probably, out of all those things, probably the most important piece of the do-it-yourself chart. So those are some great freemium tools, do-it-yourself healthcare tools. Let's talk about where to focus that do-it-yourself marketing. Well, there's the three umbrellas. There's your traditional marketing, there's digital marketing, and your referral marketing, which is provider or physician-facing marketing. Excuse me. And we'll go we'll go through these, each one of them. So there are more do's, there are more don'ts in this, but hopefully this will help you bring an understanding of what to do with this. So it's traditional marketing. This is your, your print, your radio, TV, community events, grassroots, whatever it might be. And this is where that lays into place. So some of the do's to do in traditional marketing, do look at community events. I'll tell you, one of the things that we struggle with as an agency that has a hand on all of our clients, but we're not in our clients' offices, is trying to find and buy community events for them. So this is like 5K runs, maybe sponsoring a bike team, or or an event at the local YMCA. These are things that you guys have a much better grasp on what's going on in your world than we ever will. So we will do it to help you for an extent, but realistically do that as the practice manager, as the physician liaison, as maybe a marketing assistant, help find those community events. Local print promotional products. Again, this is something that we offer at a wholesale discount, but you can go directly to a local print promotion products company, and they'll help you create, flyers or tchotchkes or coffee mugs, whatever it might be, to help, with your marketing efforts. And they'll help do some of the trickier design works. Do simple design work. As we talked about Canva, you can make flyers, or handouts or things to bring into your offices with you. These are things that you certainly can do. Some of the don'ts in the traditional marketing place: professional design. If you're buying a lot of newspaper or print or creative inside of a magazine, it's good to hire an outside company that focuses on design to do those things for you. Extensive media buying. Now, we don't discourage you from looking at buying with a one-off media. So say if you're looking at buying something in a small magazine, or maybe a one-off welcoming provider to a practice in the local newspaper, I think that's completely fine. But if you're looking to do an extensive, maybe even mapped out media buy over a 3, 6, or 12-month period, look at hiring that out for many reasons. One, when you get into some of the other mediums like radio, television, cable, digital media, there's a formula built behind it. And there's actually a science behind what you're buying there. So leaving that into the hands of an expert is one thing. Two, it also helps keep the buy independent. And what do I mean by that? One of the things that we see the most with doctors trying to buy a medium is, I like the show, so I want to be in it. Or are you trying to target to other doctors of your age, or are you trying to target to a patient? And so it's really hard to keep it independent when they have their mind focused on something. The other aspect is that 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a better cost with it. Professional marketers know how to negotiate media buys. They understand there is some built-in pricing in there, and 9 times out of 10, you'll get a better price overall for that. Photography and videography. I mean, there's a place for this in social media to do in-house photography, videography, where it's expected to be a little kind of off, a little funky. But if you're doing new headshots for your website, or maybe a video for whatever it might be, it's important to hire the right professional to do this for you. And lastly, commercials, audio, video. If you're spending thousands of dollars on one of these marketing campaigns, make sure you're backing up with a really, really professional campaign. Something that I've seen just from working at business is, and the frustrating part is, you'll get car dealerships buying $50,000 worth of media a month, and their commercials are so cheesy and god awful because they want to be in it. They can't take their hand off it, and I think it ends up hurting them in the long run. So after traditional marketing, there's digital marketing. The dues are long. Please do social media. Please post, shoot some fun videos around the office. Try to add personality where you can. Again, going the same way of the traditional marketing with finding local events. This is something that we've seen, unless you can have somebody ingrained and embedded within you, a local, a provider side focused with social media is really impactful. Now, agencies like myself, we can push out, content along those lines, but really when it comes to helping design the story of your group, it's better well served in-house. Newsletter creation. Again, all these things are something that agencies and others can do, but you can build a newsletter. You can do email marketing. It's easy. It's easy to do. We just encourage you to keep with that mindset of, I always want to be educational, always want to be impactful, always want to be resourceful when I'm doing any content. And all it's going to do is help benefit your reach and how many people engage you in the long run. Reputation management, this goes back to Google My Business, your Bing profiles, your help grades, Yelp. These are easy things to set little reminders, either on your calendar to check them manually, or to set alerts for when something might come in. So you'll get alert for when somebody leaves you a review on Google that you can quickly respond back to. Those are updates with that. Other one, website updates. Smaller organizations typically are running on WordPress platform websites. They're wonderful resources, and they're very easy for you to go in and maybe update the provider's information, change a phone number, add a blog, something along those lines. So simple website updates are something that you can certainly do under the digital marketing umbrella. Blogging and content kind of goes in hand in hand with website updates, but this kind of helps with your search and SEO. It kind of can help with your pay-per-click. But again, blogging on specific subjects are something you guys can do within in-house. Paid media, pay-per-click, display ads. Again, if you take a Google School Class training, you can certainly get pay-per-click up and running within 72 hours, I'd say. Some major don'ts that we see up there: website building and updates. So what do I mean by this? Again, going back to that, 9 times out of 10, your website is probably going to be built on a WordPress platform. It's not going to be a customized enterprise level site. You might have something lesser than that, say a Squarespace site or something along those lines. But WordPress sites are wonderful tools, but they're also built similar like how Windows does. It's an open source platform. So your developer could be using one plugin from over here, one plugin from over there to make your vision come to reality. But behind the scenes, all those things are updated, need to be updated, and they're never updated at the same time. And so what their job is to do is to make sure those updates are done on a routinely basis without your website crashing. And so if you go in and try to do that without the knowledge of somebody like a web developer, your site's going to crash. You'll have to hire somebody like that to back it up and redo it and fix all those things that are going on. Anything development, software as a solution. SaaS is software as a solution. We look at integrations with your EMRs, reputation management, those review trackers, anything that you're trying to integrate in there. It's definitely important to leave it up to a professional to integrate those within your systems. And lastly, back-end search engine optimization, back-end SEO. There are things that professionals like myself and our organization do very well, that backlinking and everything that makes help boost eyeballs to your platform. And again, there's plenty of other ones, but those are the big ones right there. Referral marketing, I don't really have any don'ts to do, to be honest with you. But in the do thing with referral marketing, there's networking. A physician liaison is a great person to have at your disposal. Why? Because they help share the latest and greatest stuff going on at your organization, your practice, and why it's important to that person within the referral network to continue on. So, physician liaisons are great. Support events, go do any networking that you can within the referral network to spread the great word of what's going on. And importantly, online. So think about LinkedIn, Facebook marketing, all these things, LinkedIn particularly. is a great place to reach out to providers and other people to get that next touch, that review. And also this is training, make sure to go and see, all the training and things going on. There's a lot of continuing education classes that head into the referral marketing aspect that is something worth taking a look at. So again, I wanted to share with you, we talked about some resources at first, and I want to share with you resources that we use here. Canva, Hootsuite, Constant Contact, and Google AdWords. We use plenty of other ones, but here's some that we would recommend you do-it-yourselfers to do at your own. Canva starts off free, but our subscription base is $12.95 a month. That's probably the level that has all that stock photography that you want and all those other aspects. Constant Contact starts at $20 a month. We have a couple thousand contacts in our contact database, and we're at $100 a month now with it. Hootsuite starts at $49 a month. I believe there's a free version of Hootsuite. And then last but not least, Google AdWords. Google AdWords budget can be whatever you set it to be. It's how much attention you want to get. But we believe that any practice where it's worth doing is starting at a budget roughly about $250 a month. But that first three things that we talked about, you can get a Canva subscription to create compelling content for your Constant Contact and push it across your Hootsuite account. All that for under $100 a month. So grow your practice and look good doing it. That's what we say along the lines with this. Now, I appreciate your time with this. Love to get any if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Want to share with you too some upcoming webinars we have. One in October. What's so special about SEO? Easy tips and tricks to make your healthcare practice stand out. In November, we have one coming up. Think strategically how to market your healthcare practice. If you're locally and you're going to the Chip Rooms conference, where we'll be speaking on Friday, and I'd love to see you there. Please stop by please stop by and say hi if you're there. And if you have any interest in some of our past webinars, we do have a YouTube channel, and we do have our access to those webinars here. 7 medical marketing secrets become the number one choice for your patients, digital storytelling that sells your healthcare brand, healthcare marketing 101, how your practice can stand out during a transitional period. These are some of our more popular webinars, but we have tons of other content out there. You can find us there. You can subscribe to us on our website as well with it. And so without that, that is what we had. I'm going to see if we have any questions. And if not, I think we are good to go. Perfect. Well, I thank you for your time. Again, my name is Stephen Fogg, and at the end of the day, we'd love to help you out. And that's it. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.